Hey y'all, welcome to Chosen Faith Ministries, where we have taken God out of the box and believe that He can do the impossible. If you have not already, please like and subscribe to this channel. All right, so I told y'all that I would be sharing my testimony with you all, and I wanted to wait. I told God last year that until it was done, I wasn't sharing it. So your girl is married, life is great, and I'm ready to start telling my story. So if you are in the midst of a life change, if you're looking to be introduced to your kingdom spouse, if you're looking for clarity on your kingdom spouse, oh y'all, I got tongue tied, this may be the channel for you. I pray that this word blesses you, and I pray that we can grow and learn here together at Chosen Faith Ministries. So let's get into it. Okay, so y'all, me and my husband got together in a very non-traditional way, which we will get more into later on, I promise y'all, because that is a big part of everything. But we got together in a very non-traditional way. But before we got together, my birthday is October 8th. In October, I lost two of my aunts. If you have been following me, then you know in 20, I can't even remember because there has been so much that has happened. But in 2021, leading up to 2022, I ended up finding out that my grandmother had terminal brain cancer. And to follow, my business went down. I lost a whole bunch of family to COVID and just random deaths. My mom and dad side collectively, I ended up losing about 30 family members. So in October, a few days before my birthday, um, two of my aunts died on the same day. One on my mom's side, one of my dad's side. They were very, very, very influential to my upbringing. I love and miss them so much. And then the day before my birthday, one of my aunts that died, her daughter died, and my aunt's funeral was scheduled to be on my birthday. Yeah. So the day before my birthday, as you can imagine, was just not good. It was a mess. It was horrible. I don't even really like to think back to that too much, but we decided last minute, me and my friends, who I don't even consider friends, though that's my family. Like my friends are my family. We decide to book a trip to Texas, to Houston, and do a birthday trip. So while we're on this birthday trip, and this is why having good friends, and not just good friends, but godly friends, is so important. My godly community, we had a very in tune, deep conversation just about standing firm and being more solid in our relationship with Christ. And from that conversation, when I came back to Florida, I'm originally from Florida, I'm a South Florida girl. Um, when we came back to Florida, I had a total life change. I stopped partying, I stopped going out, I stopped drinking. It was me and God. Like, and don't get me wrong, it was me and God before, but this was different. Like, I wasn't a lukewarm Christian, but I was a Christian that was still struggling in areas that I didn't have to struggle. Sometimes we keep ourselves in places that we don't need to be for longer than we actually need to be there. And my friend shed light on that, and I said no more. So when I got home, I fully focused on whatever it is that God would have me to do, because life was going so crazy. I feel like a big part of what the enemy was trying to do was distract me with all the bad that was going on to keep me from obtaining the blessing that God had for me. So when I get back home, I'm focusing on myself. Now, I did have someone that I was dating at the time, and God told me he was my husband, but he was taking me through hell. And every time I would ask God if I should leave him or if we should break up, God would tell me no. So I am doing this thing where it's just me and God, me and God. And as I'm doing this thing, things begin to fall off of me, and I'm seeing a change in myself, and I'm seeing a change in my life. I'm seeing a change in my posture. I'm seeing a change in who I am and who I'm becoming. And in the midst of that, here comes my husband. Now, a backstory on my husband is I've been knowing him my whole entire life. We dated when we were 13. He moved away to Turks and Caicos, and we kept in contact, but he always said, "You're going to be my wife." And I just used to be like, yeah, that's not happening. But we had when we was kids, it wasn't that deep. But God had other plans. So he comes back into my life. Now, I told y'all, he always told me that I was going to be his wife. Like, he always had this whole idea of how I was going to be his wife. And I just used to be like, boy, like, you're crazy. Like, there's no way possible that you think that I'm going to marry you. Like, we cool, but it's not happening. Right? Wrong. So he comes back in my life. He books a catering for his birthday weekend. Y'all, I go to his house to do the catering and I never went home. Like, literally, we got married after being together for a year. No, we got engaged after being together for 9 months, and we got married after being together a year and like a month. God do not play, okay? Like, he was not playing with this thing. But I said all of that to say, in order to have what God has promised us, we must already be who he has called us to be, and I will explain. Up until that Texas trip, I was calling myself a woman of God, but I was really dwindling in the world while trying to serve God. And can I tell you that you cannot do both? It wasn't until I fully committed to doing things the way God saw fit and committed myself to his will that I became a wife. And it wasn't until I became a wife that my husband was presented to me in the form in which he was presented to me. He had been here all along, but he was not presented to me in husband form until God said it was time. And that was based off of me already being a wife. If you follow me, then you're aware of the testimony that I gave about when I went to the altar for prayer over my business maybe 4 years prior, before my husband came back into my life. I went to the altar for prayer for my business, and after they prayed over my business, they end up telling me, the man you're with now can be your husband, but if he does not align, there is a man that you already know who can be your husband, and God has set him aside for you. He will be everything you need him to be for where God is taking you. And I told y'all how I rejected that, and I didn't want that. Like, I prayed against it. As I started to get myself together and align to God's will, whether I wanted that or not, it turned around and it happened. And can I tell y'all, it was better for me than what I thought I had, that I was comfortable in when I prayed against that. So believe me when I say, if God has given you a promise, he ain't holding it up because he just want to hold it up. And he ain't holding it up because somebody is just praying on your downfall. Make sure you are who he has called you to be before he puts you in that position. You cannot wait until you get in the position to be. You must already be. So when he gives us instruction, when he gives us provisioning, when he gives us parameter, it's to get us ready. It's the pre-step before the blessing. It's the pre-step before we get in the promised land. A lot of us can't go into the promised land right now because we too busy worried about what it's going to look like over there. Oh, I got to make sure I have this. I got to make sure I have that. When God ain't telling you to worry about none of that, but you are worried about that when you don't even know what it looked like over there. I say this to you. Whatever God has called you, whatever he has said that you will be, whatever he has set aside for you, whatever he has promised you, start aligning because it's coming. God said this is the year, 1 Corinthians 2:9. Eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard, your heart hasn't even imagined what he is getting ready to do, and you do not want to miss it. Align your soul, your heart, your mind, your purpose, your will, your goals, even the things that you want that he hasn't even blessed yet. If he ain't blessed it, don't even worry about it, because 9 times out of 10, he already got a plan for something better that you haven't even thought of yet. You must already be before he even put you in that seat. Ruth is a story about redemption. If Ruth would have just left Naomi, where would she have been? Would she have ended up with Boaz? Y'all be blessed.